So, have you ever found yourself just completely exhausted by trying to make everyone happy? Or maybe reacting really strongly, like surprisingly strongly, to something small?
hmm And you wonder, why isn't the logical adult part of me handling this better?
Exactly. Why does it feel like something else takes over?
Well, often it's because that rational adult has sort of taken a back seat. And what's driving is a younger version of you. We call it the inner child.
The inner child.
Yeah, it's that subconscious part that's still, you know, trying really hard to get the safety, the unconditional love maybe it didn't quite get years ago.
And that past feeling is messing with right now.
It's running the show. It dictates our present reality, honestly.
Which explains getting triggered so easily or feeling disproportionately hurt by, well, minor conflicts sometimes. It's just frustrating.
It really is. Feeling misunderstood or constantly wounded. But here's the hopeful part from what we looked into today. You don't actually need to feel guilty about having those feelings.
Right. So, our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear then.
Yeah, I think so. We want to unpack what the inner child really is, help you spot the signs it's influencing your adult life, and crucially, lay out some practical steps.
Like a roadmap.
Exactly, a roadmap for self-reparenting. Techniques so the adult you can finally start to, well, thrive.
And I loved this key point that came up again and again in our sources. You, the listener, you're actually perfectly positioned for this, like uniquely qualified.
How so?
Because you're the best person to love and parent that inner child. You know exactly what you needed back then, what was missing, how you needed someone to talk to you.
Ah, okay. So the grown-up you is the person that younger self always needed.
Precisely. So let's really dig into this. Where do we start?
Well, first, we got to be clear about the concept itself. The inner child, it sounds a bit soft maybe,
Mm.
but it's not just a metaphor. It's not just a trendy idea.
It's real.
It's a very real part of your subconscious mind. Think of it like an emotional archive. It's where you store your fundamental truths about the world, about yourself, about life.
Okay, an archive. And when does this archive get filled? When are these core truths locked in?
Primarily in those really early, highly programmable years, mostly before age 7, give or take.
Mm.
That's when your brain is just like a sponge, right?
Yeah.
It soaks up early experiences and basically treats them as the absolute truth, as gospel.
Mm.
If something happens over and over, a child doesn't just see it as an event.
They see it as how things are.
Exactly. The definition of reality.
Okay, so let's connect that to adult life. Give me a classic example. How does a childhood thing dictate what we do now?
One of the biggest ones is inconsistent affection. You know, the parent who is sometimes warm, sometimes cold, or maybe just emotionally unavailable.
Hot and cold parenting, yeah.
Right. So the child learns deep down that love isn't reliable. It's not safe.
Mhm.
And the belief that gets cemented is you have to earn love.
You have to do
You
something.
have to perform, achieve, be productive. Then people might show up for you.
Wow, okay, so your basic worth gets tied directly to what you produce. That is a huge weight to carry.
It absolutely is. And you see it, right, in workaholism or that constant feeling of needing to prove yourself.
Makes sense. What's another one?
Okay, think about a child who was, say, shamed for crying or told they were too sensitive.
Ugh, yeah. Happens all the time.
So they internalize this core belief.
Yeah.
Emotions are dangerous. Showing vulnerability is weak. Feeling hurt means you're flawed.
And then as an adult,
As an adult, you might struggle to even let yourself cry during a sad film. Or you find it almost impossible to admit to a friend, hey, I'm having a hard time, because that vulnerability feels fundamentally unsafe.
right. Or what about the kids who got intense pressure for grades or sports, accolades?
Ah, yes. The belief there becomes your worth is what you achieve, not who you are intrinsically, but what you do.
Performance equals respect.
Exactly. You have to perform perfectly, always. And that makes things like resting or just being feel like failure, like you're letting everyone down.
So it seems like a lot of adult relationship issues like fear of abandonment or intense reactions to rejection,
But
they don't just pop up
Often-
out of nowhere.
Not at all. They often trace right back to those very early experiences with how consistent or inconsistent parental love felt.
So if your childhood felt unpredictable in that way,
Then yeah, as an adult, if your partner needs some space or maybe they're just quiet one evening, your nervous system can immediately light up that old abandonment fear.
that childhood feeling is running the adult reaction.
That early inconsistency is basically running your anxious adult reality. It's fascinating and also, kind of tough.
Definitely. So, okay, we understand the foundation. Now, how do we know if this is us? How do we spot these signs?
Our sources offered a really helpful way to think about this using two kind of character sketches, Lola and Athena. One represents the unhealed state, the other the healed.
Okay, Lola and Athena. Let's start with Lola, the unhealed inner child. What does she look like as an adult?
Lola is often caught in constant, just overwhelming overthinking. She genuinely believes nothing she does is ever quite good enough. The standards she sets for herself,
It
impossible.
sounds utterly draining, and I bet she struggles with vulnerability.
Hugely. She sees her own sensitivity as a major weakness, something to be hidden. Which, makes total sense if she learned early on that emotions get you shamed or dismissed.
Right.
And, critically, Lola needs a lot of external approval. Maybe she jumps from relationship to relationship or posts excessively on social media.
Always looking outside for that validation.
It's a constant search externally for something that feels missing internally. She's probably also a workaholic, feels intense guilt as she tries to rest. Needs to be constantly doing something productive just to feel okay, to feel stable.
That need to be doing it's like trying to control the chaos she might have felt as a kid, right? Performance gives a feeling of control, even if it's false.
Precisely. And maybe the most painful part for Lola, she panics when people need alone time.
Ah.
She doesn't interpret it as they need space. Her immediate thought is personal rejection. They don't like me anymore, they're going to leave me. That childhood threat response is still live.
And this connects to something you mentioned, hyper-independence. We often think that's a sign of strength, being mature.
We do. We wear it like a badge of honor.
But you're saying it can actually be the unhealed inner child?
Often, yes. It's that younger self desperately trying to create safety and control through achievement, through doing everything herself, specifically to avoid the risk of needing someone, of being vulnerable.
Wow. It's a defense mechanism pretending to be a strength.
Exactly. Okay, but then let's shift to Athena. Athena represents someone who's done the work. Maybe her childhood wasn't perfect either, but she's committed to healing, to that reparenting idea.
So what does healed look like? What are Athena's traits?
Well, Athena can set boundaries. Confidently, calmly, without feeling guilty or like she's being mean. She protects her energy.
That's huge. No guilt for needing things.
Right. And she processes her emotions in healthy ways, maybe through journaling, talking to a therapist, venting to supportive friends. She doesn't spiral. She doesn't fear being a burden.
And, okay, this part sounds fun. Athena brings back playtime.
Yes. She makes space for hobbies she genuinely loved as a kid. She's not in a constant rush to be productive or grow up. She's embraced that authentic, joyful part of herself that maybe got buried.
And crucially,
She's learned it's okay to ask for help. She's overcome those hyper-independent survival strategies.
the difference is really tangible. It's about doing the work. So, okay, how do we do that work? How do we actually reprogram that subconscious stuff?
Right, the practical part.
Mm-hmm.
Step one involves leveraging something amazing about our brains. Neuroplasticity.
Okay, neuroplasticity. Explain that.
It's basically the scientific fact that your brain can change. It's constantly adapting,
Mm.
which means your current stress, your limiting beliefs, those emotional blocks,
Mm-hmm.
they are not permanent. They aren't set in stone.
That's incredibly hopeful. So healing isn't about erasing the past, it's about rewiring the present.
Exactly. It involves actively feeding your brain new beliefs,
Mm.
ones that directly contradict whatever the original childhood wound was.
So how do we find those new beliefs?
You have to ask yourself, what did my parents or caregivers not say or do enough? What core messages did I miss out on that I really needed?
Okay, identifying the gap.
Yes. And then comes the heavy lifting, as you said. You start giving yourself permission to hear those missing messages. Now, this might sound overly simple.
But if the old belief is deeply wired,
Then hearing something new consistently is radical work. You start repeating affirmations, things like, you are safe now, or you have always been enough, or maybe you never ever had to be perfect.
okay, but let me push back slightly. For someone who truly believes deep down I am not enough, just saying I am enough can feel, well, fake, like just another performance.
That's a really important point. It's not just about vague positivity. Neuroplasticity works best with repetition and specificity.
Specificity, how so?
So let's say your subconscious links any glance from a stranger to judgment or danger.
Mm.
Maybe you internalized shame around being seen.
Yeah, feeling exposed.
Right, so instead of just, I am safe, you tailor it. You repeat, maybe silently to yourself in that moment. Okay, you are safe right now. That person might just be looking around. They could even be admiring your scarf. Nothing bad is actually going to happen.
Ah, I see. You target the specific fear loop.
Exactly. That targeted repetition helps form new neural pathways much more effectively than just a general affirmation that feels untrue.
Okay, that makes sense. Beyond these internal affirmations, what's next?
The next technique is inner child journaling, sometimes called shadow work. And the key shift here is how you write.
How do you mean?
Stop writing only in the first person about your current adult feelings.
So instead of, I feel really overwhelmed and sad because I messed up at work today.
Try shifting the perspective. Write as your younger self, or about your younger self, for example. My inner child feels overwhelmed today because she felt invisible when she tried to speak up in that meeting. Or she feels sad because she wasn't understood by her friend.
Okay. What does that shift in perspective achieve?
It allows the adult you, the one writing, to access more compassion. You start to see the inner child not just as your failure or your sadness, but as this separate little person who deserves understanding and kindness.
Separating it out a bit, that creates space for empathy.
Exactly. And that compassion is crucial, which leads nicely into the third technique, literally seeing your inner child.
Okay, how do we do that?
It's super simple, but quite powerful. Put a physical photo of yourself as a young child, maybe 4 or 5 years old, somewhere you'll see it every day.
Like on the bathroom mirror or your desk.
Yeah, exactly. It acts as a tangible, unavoidable reminder of who you're actually talking to when you're being self-critical or setting those impossible standards.
So you look at that little kid photo.
And you ask yourself, honestly, if that little one was standing right here in front of me, would I talk to her the way I talk to myself right now?
And the answer is almost always going to be no, right?
Almost always a hard no. It forces a moment of self-kindness, of perspective. It can be surprisingly effective.
I can see that. Okay, and the last technique in this sort of prep phase.
This inner child mapping. This is really about actively getting reacquainted with that younger version of you. Because, let's be honest, most of us packed that kid away years ago and forgot what they were actually like.
So more journaling.
Yeah, journaling is great for this. Ask specific questions. What did 10-year-old me absolutely love doing? What activities brought pure joy?
Okay.
What was I most afraid of back then? What were my biggest anxieties? And crucially, what would have made that younger version of me feel truly loved, seen, and safe?
So you're mapping out their joys, fears, and needs.
Exactly, because once you understand those specific missing pieces, what they longed for, what they enjoyed the adult you right now, can start giving those things to yourself.
You close the loop.
You close that decades-old loop of yearning for love or acceptance or playfulness because you're finally listening and responding.
Okay, that deep listening feels like the bridge to the next part. The reparenting routine, the actual homework.
Yes, the homework chapter. Reparenting is all about consciously, intentionally being the parent you needed or wished you had. And it works best when you build specific habits into your routine. Daily, weekly, whatever fits.
Okay, habit number 1.
Daily journaling check-ins. Just a quick, regular ask, how's my inner child doing today? What's she feeling? Or what's something my younger self would have really loved to do today?
And then?
And then, once you identify that need, maybe it's drawing, maybe it's just resting without guilt, maybe it's spending 10 minutes outside, you actually do it. You take that small action to meet the need.
Meeting the need in the moment. Okay. Habit 2.
Using tailored mantras. We talked about neuroplasticity. This is putting it into a consistent practice. These aren't just random positive sayings. They need to directly counter your specific core childhood wound.
Got it. So if the wound was about having to earn love through achievement?
Then the mantra might be something like, I don't need to perform to be loved. I am worthy just as I am. And you repeat it consciously, regularly.
Reinforcing that new neural pathway. Okay, habit 3 sounds like more fun.
Habit 3 is playtime. And yes, it's meant to be fun. Dedicate some actual time, maybe an hour a week, maybe an afternoon, once a month, to just doing stuff you loved as a kid.
Like what?
Watching old cartoons or favorite movies from back then, going cycling, painting badly just for the heck of it, building something with Legos, whatever lit you up. No goal, except enjoyment.
It's like reminding the serious adult self about joy and lightness.
Precisely. Reconnecting with that playful energy that often gets lost under layers of responsibility.
Okay, and the final habit. You said this one might be the most transformational.
Yeah, I think it can be. It's writing a letter to your younger self. Regularly, like maybe once a week or once a month.
What goes in the letter?
You talk to her. Tell her how adult you is feeling. Acknowledge something she did well that week. Maybe how her resilience helped you handle something tough. Tell her how you plan to look after her in the coming days or week.
You're essentially checking in and making promises to her.
Exactly. And sharing how her growth, her healing, is helping shape the adult you want to become. And here's a tip. Save those letters.
Why save them?
Because reading them back months later is an incredible way to track your progress. You can literally see how your relationship with yourself has changed, how much better you've become at being that supportive grown-up your inner child always needed.
That's a really beautiful practice.
Okay, so wrapping this all up.
Well, the core message really is that healing your inner child isn't just, a self-help trend. It's fundamental work for mental health, for genuine self-love, for building lasting happiness.
And it's work that ultimately only the adult you can do.
Exactly. You are the only one who can truly complete this journey for yourself.
So if you take just one thing away from this deep dive today, maybe it's remembering that younger version of you, they're still in there, still inside your mind.
And those subconscious beliefs formed way back then, they're still influencing your reality right now.
Which leads us to that final provocative thought, building on that inner child mapping exercise we talked about.
Okay. What would the adult you, the person listening right now, be doing differently today if your 10-year-old self truly knew that you were finally listening to their biggest dreams and also their deepest fears? What might change?